Hi, Gonzague. Good to speak with you. Today we are at the Digital and AI Conference of Ardian around AI sovereignty. And so I wanted to start this conversation by asking you what you think about AI sovereignty, how you define it.
First, let me congratulate you for, let's say, this second event, AI XAI. I think it has been a tremendous success. Last year, you had the chance to put on stage a future price Nobel of economy with Philippe Agon. And clearly, today, I get the feeling that we are going even deeper into the discussion. And I think also it shows that Europe is very much mature and get that now maturity on this topic, the talent and build his own knowledge. So I think it's also we'll discuss that, but I think you should also be positive and optimistic. Just to say that on my side, I'm Gonzague Boutry, leading digital infrastructure for the team in Europe. Been there since in the team since 20 years, and we joined almost at the same times. So we are also, that's the way in Ardian we see a relationship with our client, relationship with the team, in a relationship with different stakeholder, even in an environment that is massively and extremely moving very fast. So fascinating world. And for that fascinating world, obviously the topic of digital sovereignty was the key topic today at the debate. And we do believe is that with AI, the influence that can that let's say the infrastructure will get on the superstructure will significantly increase, and that's in a way the soft power of AI. And that's why we need to control better those critical infrastructure that we will build over the next 5 and 10 years. Just one example, the nuclear power plant in France, the airports are usually controlled by European entity or European partners as a whole in Europe. And let's say what we need to build for AI infrastructure tomorrow will be in the same within the same aspect, and those are critical infrastructure. The second element that I will mention about sovereignty, and to demonstrate that those are critical infrastructure, as you know, because we are working together on the development of Verne in France, and we'll come back to that. When you are developing a data center in France, and not only in France, but in Europe, you have obviously some fire and safety issue. So you need to get the fireman on the site. But the second key stem that you need to obtain is from the army. Why is coming from the army? Because if there is a war in France, in Europe tomorrow, which hopefully will not get there, let's say the second first site that will be attacked after the nuclear plant will be the data center. And that's the guidance by the French army. So we need to protect the nuclear plant as obviously in priority. But the second one to protect is the data center, because that's basically the backbone of our digital economy and our economies. So sovereignty is vital. Now we need to act, and we need to act now, because the race, and that's also the chance of AI. The race of AI is not. We have not lose the race of AI. We can say that for the cloud aspect, clearly we lose the cloud race. 80% of the cloud infrastructure and are owned by US operator in Europe. 80%, more or less the same figure, of the cloud system used by corporate in Europe are US cloud systems. So in a way, the battle on cloud, we lose it. Now we are coming and opening a new era which is AI, as you understood, and as you know perfectly well. And so it's a chance for us to compete in this new era. But the wake-up call was 6 months ago, 8 months ago. Now we need to be very focused on the execution. Why I'm saying the wake-up call was 9 months ago, because we had the rapport Draghi, we had the AI summit. So I think European citizens get now the understanding that there is a roadmap. Some people may more or less agree to the roadmap, but at least there is a roadmap, and it's about execution of that roadmap on the day-to-day, and that's also our duty as infrastructure investor to deliver that roadmap. But maybe before that, and let's keep focus on AI before going to the infrastructure stack. You have been head of data science since a few years at Ardian. How you see the evolution of your of this role? You have built a fascinating partnership with Mistral. Again, huge congrats to that. Can you tell us how data science has evolved within Ardian, and also what can we do more with AI for Ardian as a firm, but also for our portfolio companies?
Tough question. No, thank you. The way we have thought about data science at Ardian, as you were mentioning, the first step was and we started together, to apply it for portfolio companies. We were convinced that you had a lot of data in infrastructure assets, as you know, that were not really used to enhance operations. So we thought that by being an investment fund, we had automatically the benefit of the scale, and we could build tools that could be useful for, if you build a tool for one airport operation, there's good chances that it will also be useful for another airport. So we could scale the tools, and we could collect more data because we invest in 3 verticals: transport, energy, and digital infrastructure. So that's a bit a way we started, and because it was working well, we applied it to ourselves. And I think, we share the conviction, but for sure, AI will have a tremendous impact on the private equity industry, because our job is mainly to treat information, and the more efficiently possible, the most information, the more efficiently possible, analyze it, and out of this, make investment decisions. So when you have huge, these large language models that can help you treat this information 10 times faster, and expand dramatically the scope of data that you can collect, of course, it's bound to have a huge impact. But as you were mentioning, sovereignty is an issue at the level of states and government, but it's also an issue or something that you need to be aware of also at sort of the micro level of each company. And so, of course, we use US cloud services, but you need to know where your dependency lies, and where you need to still, I would say, be in full control of your own data. And you can also have discussions with US hyperscalers in order to get some guarantees of where your data sits, and so on. When it comes to LLMs, we didn't want to be completely dependent on one model. So we built an internal application called Gaia that leverages on several large language models, and the users can choose the large language models that they choose. And the first one that we put on the platform was Mistral. Why Mistral? First, because it's one of the best. So the performance, and I would say even more so when we launched the platform a year ago, the performance for a lot of the regular questions that we ask were really on par with the US LLMs, which is quite amazing for a French startup. And second, because there is a sovereignty topic, and we wanted to have also the choice between US and Europe. in our large language model providers. So we built this partnership with Mistral, and I believe, and we discussed it today, that we also need to push, as European actors, we need to push the research in Europe. So we have a research partnership with Mistral on applying LLM for financial services. But it's sort of creating an ecosystem around European companies and creating more partnership cross markets and cross countries. And I think that's the way we approach data science at Ardian. We try to build partnership with universities, with startups, with the cloud hyperscalers, because they're in Europe. They need to be our partners. We shouldn't forget what's important for us, but they're here. There are many ways of creating sovereignty for us, which doesn't mean isolation. And I think maybe that's a good segue to Veron, because we did this investment together, and I think we are very proud of having invested in a data center platform that is focused on AI, and that has been focused on AI since 2012 in Europe. I think it's quite an amazing investment that we did. Maybe you want to say a word about it.
Yes, and before that, I'm very. I think what you build and this tool Gaia, what is fascinating and more, it's true for Gaia, but it's also true for most of, let's say, the AI product, is the adoption, the adoption rate, and seeing our team, our analysts, our investment manager using the platform. I think we can be proud of how, let's say, adoption can deep dive into corporate. And we had the chance to have Vincent Luciani on stage. We were making that reference. We are not late on the usage of AI within our corporate in Europe versus US. So where we are late, it's about infrastructure, it's about investment, and it's about innovation. So we need to accelerate that innovation, investment, and also education in a way. Those for me are the three pillars where we need to accelerate. And again, that's how Boutry as investor to support that. And that's the way we are doing and what we are doing in Verne, because like in any of our investment in infrastructure, the way we create value, the way we deliver a good performance and best of class performance for our investor is to deliver a massive capex plan. And we have the chance, linking the two, that obviously we see billions of announcements every day on data center and AI data center. So there is massive growth plan to be delivered, and we want to be part of it. We are part of it, and I think we can be proud of that. Just a snapshot on Verne. Verne is a data center platform that used to, you say, to be on a very niche market, which is high performance computing. And they had a vision. And their vision was to say those data centers will consume more energy than the cloud data center. That's a fact, because you have a rack with higher density, and in higher density, more energy consumption. So they say it will consume more energy. So where I need to put and to install and to build those data centers? And they say that's where you have a lot of energy. That's where you have a lot of decarbonized energy, and where you have also a lot of efficient and cost economic energy. And initially, it's true that let's say the business was founded in Iceland because in 100% geothermal, then expand in Nordics with Finland, Norway, where we have also secured the site. And now you and me and the board, more in general, supported by the management team and the CEO, Dominique Ward, took the decision to open new markets. and why we want to open new market. We want to keep, let's say, that DNA of the company, that vision that I just mentioned, but we want to develop and to build and to close the gap versus US in building those new strategic infrastructures tomorrow. We are opening France, and I'm very proud to say that France is a key market for Verne going forward. We have a massive ambition in France. We are assessing one site of the famous list of the President Macron that has been announced as part of the AI summit of the 35 sites. So we are looking at one of the site. Today, I cannot disclose that site, but we are making good progress. This is a big site close to Paris, so in the France region. We are also looking and assessing Denmark as a new country. Similar, a lot of green energy that will come live over the next years, thanks to the massive ambition of the Danish government to build offshore wind. So those are, let's say, the market where Verne
And Norway.
Verne is operating, and clearly we want, as a shareholder, to give the tool and to give the commitment vis-à-vis the management, but not only vis-à-vis the local stakeholder, vis-à-vis the national stakeholder, vis-à-vis the European stakeholder, that we will control this infrastructure and we will maintain a certain control of this strategic infrastructure going forward. So maybe here I'll stop there and I'll ask you a question. We have been at the board of Verne since 18 months. We have changed and we have supported the management to change a lot of things. How you see, let's say, how we see and you perceive that a shareholder like Ardian can create value and support, let's say, the management team on a daily basis?
Well, I think we have both witnessed how capital intensive this market is. So I think for us as a long-term investor, it's great because we want to invest capex. And in a way, what we are witnessing is that we struggle to build fast enough, in fact. So what we can bring is, of course, also the construction expertise that we've built in other sectors, in energy, and we have Grab as an operating partner who've been helping us on CCGTs in the past, on district heating networks, on all these very capital-intensive assets. And now, clearly, data center is maybe the most capital-intensive that we see. So that's our role, of course, as shareholders, to support the management team's ambition to grow capacity by investing alongside them or behind them. Second, I think it also helps to have a European shareholder that knows about European specificities, local specificities. We have offices in Finland. We have offices in London. Don't have an office in Iceland, but we spend a lot of time there. And so we bring this local specificity, but we also have, by our presence globally, we also obviously have relationships with big US players, Asian players, and so that we can bring all this relationship for the benefit of our companies. So I think, of course, in this data center market, you need shareholders with industry expertise, deep pockets, international reach, and honestly, humility, because I think we both learn every day in this market. It's a very technical. It seems very simple. People always seem to say that it's data warehouses, basically, but it's actually very complex market dynamics, complex technological dynamics. But it's also fascinating to be in this market for that reason. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And to wrap up on my side, and I agree, it's very complex. infrastructure that we are building. Usually I make the comparison with we are building Ferraris and Formula One.
Yeah.
Oh, Formula One. Then we are building Formula Ones, and we need also a track, and the track being the connectivity.
Yeah.
And that's what we are building for not only for us, for child and for our community going forward. To wrap up, I think it's a message of optimism. I think we are entering into a new paradigm. We're entering a new paradigm with a lot of strength in Europe, the capacity to invest, to deliver best-in-class infrastructure, also to innovate, and also on the talent. So I think it's a message of optimism. It's a message of control of the infrastructure that I want also to pass, and where Ardian have a key role to play. And obviously, this key role will goes and alongside also duties vis-a-vis again national, European, and also local stakeholder. But we share some conviction, and we share the same conviction about optimism and great future, assuming we take that very seriously, and we execute now the plan that and the vision that has been framed by our leaders.
Thank you, Gonzague.
Thank you, Pauline.